Well, if you listen to the liberal media, you might think all of Iraq is going up in flames. But throughout the war, one part of Iraq has been remarkably peaceful, especially for American troops. Paul Strand explains why Kurdistan is so different from the rest of Iraq.
The Kurds throughout history have been a rugged warrior race, but they have no beef with democracy or America, and no U.S. forces have been killed or kidnapped in Kurdish areas of Iraq. In fact, 90% of the Kurds have a favorable impression of America. A major reason for that is because American forces and their allies did so much to protect the Kurds from the killing wrath of Saddam Hussein starting a few months after the end of the First Gulf War. The longtime dictator definitely had it in for the Kurds, and if he's executed in the days ahead, one of the major reasons will be for the war crimes he committed against them in the 70s and 80s, gassing, bombing, and killing them by the hundreds of thousands, chasing many more out of their ancient territories. Much of that had to do with oil, because Kurds occupy some of Iraq's most oil-rich regions, and they also sit over valuable oil reserves in Turkey, Syria, and Iran, which is why all four have so fiercely opposed the idea of a free Kurdistan carved out of their four nations. It's one of the reasons Kurds have been among the most enthusiastic of voters in post-Saddam Iraq. They hope in a truly democratic Iraq they'll be able to wriggle their way out of Baghdad's control and at least maintain their status as a fairly autonomous region, then maybe someday translate that into true freedom as a prosperous, independent Kurdistan. They'll likely have to do it all on their own, though. The same world that's so adamant in demanding 10 million Palestinians be given their own homeland never raises a similar cry for the 30 million Kurds, by far the world's largest ethnic minority without a home to call its own.
Well, Bayan Rahman represents the Kurdish region as a diplomat to the United Kingdom, and she's the chairman of the Kurdistan Development Corporation. Thank you for being with us on the 700 Club.
Thank you for inviting me.
What do the Kurds want? Do you want an autonomous Kurdistan? Would you like to see Iraq into 3 autonomous divisions or any of those in your plans?
Well, the Kurdistan regional government in Iraq is committed to a federal and democratic Iraq. Democracy, of course, we all know what that means. It means the sharing of power among the peoples of Iraq. Federalism, what we mean by that is that the various peoples that make up Iraq, the Kurds, the Sunni Arab community, the Shia Arab community, we should all be able to choose whether we want to live in regions that will remain as part of a united Iraq, but each region should be able to have its own laws, its own parliament, and run in its own region. And in fact, this is what's happening in Kurdistan already.
Well, what about the oil? It seems that that's, you know, in Kirkuk and those tremendous fields in Kurdistan. What proposals are being made to share oil? I know that the Sunnis would like to federalize it. The Shias want what's down in the south. How do your people come at that issue?
Well, what we want is actually what's already stipulated in the Iraqi constitution, the new constitution which was voted on and approved by the majority of Iraqis last year. In the constitution, the oil of Iraq, wherever it is, belongs to the people of Iraq. It doesn't belong to the government and it doesn't belong to any one group. And this is what we want to see. So, for example, the oil revenues from Kirkuk would be shared by all Iraqis, just as the oil revenues from Basra in the south would be shared by all Iraqis. The only difference is that what we're saying, and this again is stipulated in the constitution, is that newly developed oil fields, newly discovered oil fields in the Kurdistan region would be managed by the Kurdistan regional government, but the oil revenues would again be shared by all Iraqis. So just to summarize, what we're saying is already stipulated in the Iraqi constitution, which was already agreed by all or approved by the majority of Iraqis, and in summary, the revenues would be shared by all Iraqis.
Why is there such a debate then if it's already settled?
I think the debate is that some people are unhappy at what was approved in the Constitution, and they want to reverse or go back on it. And they're not necessarily unhappy about what's been decided about oil. They might be unhappy about one other aspect of the Constitution. For example, the role of Islam in the Constitution or in Iraq. And because the constitution was approved as a package, they want to chip away at it by saying, we don't like this, we don't like that, and so to try to reverse this or other parts of the constitution. But in fact, the constitution was approved by the majority of Iraqis, and really it's the first time that Iraqis, the ordinary person in Iraq, has been able to vote on a constitution. So we think it's the right thing and it should stay.
Over the centuries, the Kurds have been persecuted. There are a large number in Turkey, large number, of course, in northern Iraq. Is there thought of an independent Kurdistan?
You're right that the Kurds are spread over these different countries, Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Syria. I represent the Kurds in Iraq. I should just clarify that. Every Kurd in their heart wants an independent Kurdistan. We are a people, we have our own customs, we have our own culture, our own history, our own language, and we want independence. There's no denying that. But the fact is that today it would be suicide for us to declare independence. We are much more realistic than that. So what we want, the Kurds in Iraq, what we want is a federal and democratic Iraq. An Iraq in which the Kurds, the Shia Arabs, the Sunni Arab community, each of us can choose our own way of life, and each of us can live within the boundaries of Iraq. So this is what we're calling for today.
Your region of Iraq is a model now of democracy, of freedom, of economic enterprise. Buildings are going up, and trade is booming. This should set a model for the rest of Iraq. What's the secret?
Yes, Pat, I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly what I think. I think we can be the model for the rest of Iraq. We do have stability, we have peace in the Kurdistan region, and this is maintained by a very high level of alertness and security and cooperation between the ordinary people of the Kurdistan region and our security forces. And you're right, our economy is booming. We're very fortunate that we have foreign companies already operating in the Kurdistan region, but we would like to see more of them. One area that we think would do very well in the Kurdistan region is tourism. Already Kurdistan is a tourist destination for the rest of Iraq, but we believe that it could be a tourist destination for Americans, for Europeans. I think one area of great interest would be what we call historic or biblical tourism. The tombs of many great prophets are in Kurdistan. For example, the prophet Jonah, Daniel and the lion's den. That whole event took place in the Kurdistan region in Iraq. So we believe that tourism could be one of the great industries that we could promote in our region.
Well, Bayan Rahman, thank you so much for being with us, and congratulations on the work that is happening in Kurdistan. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
A light, ladies and gentlemen, in a sometimes cloudy situation of ethnic strife. It's not happening up in Kurdistan. They're living at peace, pro-Western, pro-democracy, and free enterprise. It's a very refreshing change to some of the chaos that you see in Baghdad.